Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, to create massive awakened impact for millions of souls around the planet, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman.
Hey, hello, everybody. I'm so glad to have you here. Another amazing Spiritual Rockstar podcast. I have an amazing guest. I'm telling you, this person is going to absolutely have you learning new things that you'll be able to implement right away. She's a no nonsense kind of person. So you'll get like what you really want that you can implement right away, and even much more than that. So you're going to learn how to, be a chakra detective for yourself. I mean, wow, that's pretty incredible, right? So I can't wait to hear what she has to say after, doing chakra scans for so many people over the years. And I know she has something even so much expertise, decades and decades of experience with this. I can't wait to share everything she's going to share with you today. They let her share that with you, and we're going to have a yummy time together. We're going to get started in one moment. Want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free Meditate, Make Money meditation today. Dr. Susan Corso, so glad to have you today.
I'm very glad to be here, Daniel. Thank you.
All right. Well, let's let the audience know more in detail about you now. Dr. Susan Corso is a metaphysician, an intuitive, and an author of both fiction and nonfiction. She has had a spiritual consulting practice for over 40 years. Her latest nonfiction are the 8 Energy Integrity Workbooks. They teach applied practical knowledge on how your chakras reflect your past and how your chakras can be changed in the present, and how to use your own energy, a human energy system, to create your future. That sounds pretty cool, right? Her fiction crosses genres and is about people who are conscious creators. And she lives in the Hudson River Valley in Cupcake Manor with her beloved husband, and I love this part, and her familiar Smooch, of course. So I love that. I love that. What a beautiful name for your familiar. So Susan, got to know more about Smooch. Tell us about Smooch. Smooch is a dog then, or
no? Smooch is a tuxedo cat.
Okay, tuxedo cat.
And she's called Smooch because she has all around her mouth, she has just white, and it looks like someone put a white kiss right there. She's complete. Her face is completely black, and then there's this white kiss. So she's called Smooch because she looks like she's smooching you all the time.
Cool. Yeah, the download I get on that, because I got cat first, and I'm like, well, maybe it's a dog with a name like Smooch, and then I have a feeling that, now you may not agree in your energy assessment of detectiveness, but from my eyes, I'm like, I feel a little dog sort of vibe in this cat, like not entirely, but so I was just curious. It's so fun though. It's so fun to, everything is interconnected and it's revealing everything we need to know right now. So smooch, love it. I love the love. So let's get into it. So you've been doing this, as you told me, like for forever, right? For decades and decades and decades. How did you get involved with all that? You're like one of those people, you're so curious, you're so into everything, right? That's why you love writing and all this stuff, books. And so tell us about yourself. Like, how did you get into all this stuff? You're a writer, accomplished writer, and you also do all this amazing energy work. Tell us, how did you get into all this stuff?
Well, I have a sort of a two-pronged life, and it took me a very, very long time to figure out that what links it all is metaphysics. So I write books about people who live the way I want to live, people who ask themselves spiritual questions, people who want to live by their spiritual values. Well, energy work is no different than that. It's just applying it in a different venue. So people have come to me for many years wanting help with their lives. And I didn't set out to be a counselor, but when it started happening that I was counseling and doing healing work, it made no sense to me not to include that person's concept of the divine. So if you're a Hindu, I'm not talking to you about Jesus, I'm talking to you about Lakshmi. And if you're a Christian, I might be talking to you about Jesus. If you're a Catholic, I might be talking to you about the Blessed Virgin Mary. And if you needed to be Great Spirit or Herald, or, Herald be thy name, right? What doesn't matter to me is who your God is. It matters that that you have a place in a cosmos that is not chaotic. The cosmos has a plan. I don't mean
Let me ask you a question. I'm going to interrupt on this. So I asked you, I'm like, okay, where did all this come from? Did you come from a background where things were honored like that, or was it not so much that way? Or I'm curious.
Not at all. It came, let me warn you to put your seatbelt on. It came out of tragedy. I lost a son the day he was born.
Oh, wow.
And it was a total T in the road. It was okay. You are either going to be learning from this experience, growing from this experience, turning it around so it is a blessing for other people once you are through it, or you are going to be bitter and angry. And I already had a grandmother like that. I knew where that went. And I had a mother who was an alcoholic, so I knew where that went. And I thought, I don't want to be in those stories. So I ended up in a Unity church at 30, not for any particular reason, except somebody said to me, "You'll like this, go there." Okay. Well, I had the baby, our son. We named him Isaac because it means she laughed, because I was determined that there would be joy out of this. And I wasn't healing. And I wasn't healing. And I found out many years later that human grieving often takes place in 9-month increments because it's a replication of the generative process, right? So 9 months to the day after Isaac was born and died, and talk about a message. My husband and I were married on January 23rd. Isaac was born at 4:50 on 6/7/8/9. For real. Okay, time to wake up. What is this, right? So a woman showed up in my meditation that morning and said hi. And I said hi. And she said, "I'm Mary." I said, "Hi, Mary." And she kind of looked at me and went, "Jesus, Mom?" And she vanished. And I was like, what? I came from no religion at all. We went to church, but only so I could sing in the choir. And it was about the singing, not about God. Mary, well, she came and checked on me every day for 9 months. At the 18-month mark exactly, she said to me, "Do you want to know how I did it?" And I knew immediately what she meant. How did I let my son die and go on? Because I wasn't going on. I was not healing. I was functioning, but I was kind of at a hum of existence. The house wasn't dirty and I had clothes on every time I left the house. I wasn't a disaster, and I said, yes. And she said the words that changed my life completely, which were, "I gave him away." And that day I gave away my Isaac to my then understanding of God, who was God the Father. Soon thereafter, God the Father didn't work for me, and I ended up finding my own path, which was much more God the Mother. Long sort of history of Celtic women doing Celtic women things. And that's when I got serious. And when at 9 months later, when I had it back together, I asked her if I could work for her. And she said, sure. So that's who I work for. The Blessed Mother. The Jewish mother who's in charge of everything. So that's how I got into doing this work. And then a friend of mine gave me a reading for my birthday. And I went to see this psychic. She knew my name. That's all. And I walked into her house and she said to me, "Oh my God, you should be reading for me." I said, "What?" So my intuition blew wide open, and she told me I was a color healer in Egypt. And I rolled my eyes and went, all right.
Right. I was a color healer, sure.
Sure, right. And next you're going to tell me I was Nefertiti. Anyway, I didn't say that. So we went to this bookstore, this friend of mine who was meeting me there afterward, and we stood in front of books on color healing. And 3 of them fell onto the floor in front of me. Her name was Susan. I turned to her, I said, Suze, yeah. So we bought the books. I get home, I'm reading, I'm about 50 pages into the first one, and I go, you know what? I know this stuff.
Of course.
And that was my first sort of big kind of woo experience. I've had, spiritual experiences before in my life, but not like, wow, okay. So I started working with color in my own closet. What do I feel like today? What would make me feel better? And then I realized that it was the chakra system. And I went, oh, of course. So to me, the chakra system is actually the life force. And the reason I say that is this: something makes your circulatory system circulate that is beyond your heart. Yes, I understand your heart is a pump. It's mechanical, but something has in its nature circulation, right? Something makes your lungs respire, right? The respiratory system. What is that something? That something is what I would call the divine spark. Life force, chi, prana, mana, we could go on, but you take my point. So I think that the chakras are life force viewed through a prism. So you actually can see where life force is moving in yourself. I don't mean see like with your eyeballs. I mean, know in your being, because you can feel it. And it's the reason you can feel it is because it's in your body. And the thing about bodies that is the coolest thing in the whole wide world is that they don't lie. And they don't lie because they can't lie. That's amazing. Now, that doesn't mean that we don't use our way overtrained left brains to override the truth in our bodies, right? So you have a bit of a sore throat on Monday and you go, oh, this is no big deal. I'll just go out with my friends anyway, and you don't get enough sleep. And so by Thursday, you have to take the day off because you have a cold. When if you'd listened to the tickle and you'd stayed home and you'd drunk lemon tea and had a quiet night and not talked, you probably wouldn't be sick on Thursday, right? That message is there. And usually there's an emotional message with it. And so finally, what eventually happened was I met a doctor, like an MD doctor, a functional medicine doctor who came to work with me for a couple of years. And he opened a big medical center in Boston and asked me if I would be the head of spiritual and energy medicine for him. So there are 20 doctors in this place doing all kinds of different things, some specialists, some general doctors. And whenever they got stuck, I don't mean that they were not, that their protocols were not addressing some of what was happening, but they weren't addressing all of what was happening, right? So he used to call me from his office and he'd say, okay, I'm sitting here with Daniel. That's all I knew, right? On a speakerphone. And he'd say, what do you get? Well, I was never wrong. But no idea where the skill came from, what it was about. Never. I mean, I took anatomy class in the 9th grade, but that was a while ago. You can imagine. And I just knew. So that when I went to work for them, what happened was the doctors who knew they were touching 25% of a systemic illness wanted to know what was really going on. And invariably, that's where my expertise came in, because it was either psychological, emotional, or spiritual, right? Something's happening that causes a symptom. And the symptom is way, way, way down the line from the happening, usually, right? So I had a woman come to me once, a soprano, a singer, opera singer. And she had contracts to go to Germany and sing in major opera houses all summer long. This was May. And she'd lost the top third of her range. And she said to me, I don't know what to do. I can't make a living. And I have all these contracts. And so we sat and talked a little bit, and I got a flash, like an intuitive flash. And she was probably in her mid 40s. And I said to her, how old were you when you had the abortion? And she said 14. I said, okay. So you were raised Catholic, right? She said, uh-huh. And I said, well, you know, those lessons and those things that you learn as a Catholic girl, even though you're not a Catholic girl now, it takes a while for them to sort of loosen their fix. But at 14, she still had that Catholic matrix perfectly. She was going to Catholic school. So I said, I'm going to say 2 words to you, and you have to say them to yourself until you can sing again. And she said, okay, 2 words? That's all? I said, yeah, te absolvo, which is what a priest says when you're through with confession. I absolve you. So yeah, you're judging yourself for having done something horrible, and you are punishing yourself so that you can't even earn a living because of your opinion about what happened. So one of the good pieces that came out of Isaac being born and dying on his birthday is that I understood that children have souls and they come here with things to do, right? I said to her, how do you know that you didn't supply a soul with 6 weeks of touch into physicality, which is all that soul needed? How do you know you didn't do a service for God by doing that? And being willing to nurture your own broken heart over losing a child or having to give up a child. And she was like, well, she could sing in 10 days. She did the work. She was desperate, right? But that's not the point. The point is that something that happened at age 14, and she's in her mid 40s, we're talking decades have gone by. She has had, some singing problems, some note problems, special teachers, a voice doctor, blah, blah, blah. But then all of a sudden it comes down to what it needs to come down to. And it happened to be her Saturn opposition, age 42, right? So yeah, it was time to let it come into her face and deal with it. She was fine. She went to Germany, sang her contracts, everything was okay, because she understood finally that she could give another meaning to what happened. And that's really what my work is about, is helping people find a meaning that gives what happened to them value. And the chakras, you could think of your chakras, nobody really knows where the subconscious mind is, right? It's not like you're, the top 10% of your brain is the conscious mind and then the rest is subconscious. I think the chakras are the subconscious mind. I think they record everything. So they get here. So this woman, her throat chakra was tight as a drum. Well, of course, she was cutting down on her air. She had her shoulders up. She had her chin back, right? Well, of course, she was avoiding the guilt, right? I said, well, wait, how about if there's no guilt? Wait, what? How could that be? New story. new story. That's what we
Mhm.
all need. I'm a believer in what Viktor Frankl said, which is that human beings can live without a lot of things, but not without meaning.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's always what it is. Like all the years I've been doing this too, it's you tune in and it's like wherever it's coming from, wherever we sense the origins are from, whether it's this life or early in this life or both or whatever. But like there's like this misinterpretation of what was really going on and whatever the scene is, right? And it's like, well, not so much that. It was really more trying to show you this, and once they get that, either sent, energetically and that level of thought, or they get or like the example you gave here anyway, like if you tell it to them, even like there can be that recognition sometimes for people, and it can either start to shift them, or you can see a big shift right away once that truth really takes root, right? Like that's how I see it anyway. The truth takes root, and like that's literally the clearing. Like, okay, now the chakras gets back into its alignment with the divine, right? Now it can function more properly. Or
I agree with you. I completely agree with you. I also think this part of it is our own fault. And I don't, mean to be tisking at anybody, but oh boy, do we love to rehearse the outrages and the
Mhm.
problems. And we
Mhm.
dig neural trenches in our own experience. Well, and you tell, a story that happened 30 years ago, you tell it the same way, same
Yeah.
words, same phrases, same timing. What do you think that's doing
Mhm.
in your brain? Well, if it
Mhm.
was, on your desk with a knife, you'd be carving a trench. Eventually the leg would fall off,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But we're not taught this. And we're not even taught that we have an energy system. So how
Mhm.
are you supposed to manage essentially the thing that gives you the life energy to function? Right? How many people do you know, Daniel, who are absolutely, totally, completely 150 million% exhausted? Almost everyone I talk to,
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of
right?
people exhausted, a lot of tired people.
A lot of tired people, a lot of running around, trying to get all the information in and read all those emails and this and this. And I go, whoa, 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 wait. That's not what this life is. That is not what this life is. And if that's what then you're a hamster on a wheel. You're not a human. And if you are a human, then you're a human doing, not a human being.
Right.
Right. And that's exhausting. Of course you're exhausted. I say, okay, stop doing that. Let's do something different.
Mhm.
How about something different? Oh, well, what might that be? Well, the magic of the chakras, Daniel, I'm sure you know this. Most people think that, the chakras are like these solid colored hockey pucks that attach to their spine, like a ribbon, right? That's not what they are. At least that's not how I see them.
Right.
Chakras are three-dimensional spheres of light that vary and move constantly, right? And the important thing about chakras, and this is one of the things that sets my work apart on chakras, is not that you have them. I mean, it's nice that you have them. It's nice that you know your first chakra. Congratulations. However, is your first chakra talking to your second chakra? Because if it's not, or if it's got a judgment, or if there is anger, or if there is hurt, or if there is anything in the way of that, there goes your energy.
Mhm.
You're toast. Okay, so wait. So the important thing is you have all the information inside you. This is one of the reasons I used to say this to doctors all the time. This is why you guys don't know anything about chakras, because you can't figure out how to monetize it. Right? There's no insurance code for chakras out of balance, but you balance people's chakras, and then their health issues can get better
Mhm.
because the psycho-spiritual and emotional pieces are realigned. So
Right.
that then the magnetism of Western medicine, okay, we're going to give you an antibiotic and remind you what it's like to be healthy, right, can start to work. But if what you really need to do is weep, no antibiotic is going to stop you having a sinus infection. You need to weep, or it'll stop it. It'll stop it a little, right? For a while, but then it'll come back. And the doctor will say, well, I have to give you another antibiotic.
Right. Or it goes away and then something else pops up in your energy that's
Exactly.
goes up somewhere else.
Exactly. It's like those balloon animals that clowns make.
Right.
It's really true. So learning how to work with your chakras so that they play a melody, right? If I played middle C for you and said to you, Daniel, this is music, you would say to me, no, it's not. It's not music at all. You need another note to make music, right? That's why working with the chakras together, right? So if your first chakra is sort of Bing cherry red and your second chakra is pumpkin yellow, okay, what does that mean? That means that there's a pumpkin orange. There's a red orange space in between where they have to talk to each other and figure out what their relationship is and what the harmonies are and what the melodies are and how to function better. Now, everybody has a chakra that they lead with, always. Okay. But then the rest of them all have to function. You don't get to just turn one off because they're connected to your endocrine system, which is the system, essentially it's the communication system in your body. So that all those hormones talk to each other. And the magic of hormones is this: they're perfect and magic when they're in balance. But when we think of something out of balance, we think of Libra, right? Like this. Yeah. I'm a Libra, I ought to know. Oh no. Hormone imbalance is like this. Tiny. So tiny that sometimes it can't even be measured, right? Or the Western medicine tests don't measure it really. So I know a lot of people who have thyroid issues. Thyroid issues are connected to your fifth chakra, and they have to do with the quickness or the slowness of your metabolism, right? How you maintain your weight, gain weight, lose weight, that kind of stuff. Okay. Well, if you don't know that the Western system says that your thyroid needs to be, let's say, between 1 and 3. And so you get a test that is 1.2. And the Western doctor says, okay, you're normal, right? But the energy healer says, your thyroid's limping.
Yeah.
Maybe we should help it along a little. We don't have to give it Synthroid or any fancy medicine, but let's make sure you're eating, iron, let's say, right? Or calcium. That would be good. And that you're doing something for exercise. That will help your thyroid and your metabolism even out, right? So those are support things that Western medicine isn't about, because Western medicine is about fixing.
Right.
I'm not interested in fixing, although fixing is nice. I'm interested in curing.
Right.
Well, that's another movie, right? Curing, healing. I mean, I've had clients, 2 actually, almost back to back. One with breast cancer who did her emotional work and died completely peacefully. One who did her emotional work and lived and still lives to this day. Why? That's their soul agreements.
Right.
I don't know the why of that.
Right.
But I'm willing to support them in being at peace if they're going to die.
Yeah.
Or at peace if they're going to live. That's their choice. So
it's fascinating because I remember when I first got in with healing and all that, and I remember I didn't even ask direct permission to the person, but probably to their soul. And I did prayer for them. They had cancer, and then they died. And then, back then I didn't know any better. I'm like, at first I was devastated. I'm like, oh my God, I'm no good. I didn't do it. And then, of course, not that long after that, then I some wisdom came in. I'm like, well, yeah, but if it wasn't his path, or he wasn't receptive to it for whatever reasons, and that's what's going to happen. There has to be receptivity. We can't just think we're control maniacs. And there's some people that say, yeah, 100%, I cure 100%. Every single person I do, 100% never fails, and I never believe them. I'd be honest, I guess there's no way you can go in and cure any condition 100% of the time. I just always find that people that say that aren't being truthful, like, because there's always these scenarios there we don't necessarily know what their highest good is. Even the most intuitive of us don't always necessarily know. So we have to realize, like, okay, we're there to do the work we're there to do, and it doesn't always look like a healing every single time. Maybe we get a lot of people get better, but it's not always going to look the same. So I think we fight so much against the idea that we can't have anything not fixed. We got to fix everything, that we kind of miss the point, of the life, right? I mean, it's just crazy.
I'm with you. And soul agreements are soul agreements. And I am not interested in interrupting anybody's, right? If you need to leave the planet, go with God. Go at peace, please. If you think of it, send a blessing this way when you get to wherever you're going. The soul is a total mystery. Why? My dad was killed in a plane crash when I was 5. Why? Well, that's not the right question. That's not the right question. The real question is, what did I agree to that made me choose this man? Yeah. Right? My dad was a magical creature, right? And my mother was a triple Virgo, right? Eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth, right? My dad was like, of course I can see the fairies behind the sofa. Right? And my mother was, fairies? What? So I kept that sense of imagination. It's one of the reasons that I'm a writer, right? And it's funny, I don't ever make an outline when I write. I know sort of the first scene. I know, like, if it's a mystery, I know who died. If it's a romance, I know who gets together. But I don't know how it's going to work. I have no idea how or why. I write to find out what the hell is going to happen in the story.
It'll work itself out, right?
That's right. I don't know. I wrote over COVID. I wrote an historical fiction novel, not ever expecting to write historical fiction at all. It's about 4 sisters in the 1890s who don't follow the rules. They are really not interested in being the kind of women that, faint at the sight of blood. They were like, yeah, no, we're not doing that. Okay. And they're fabulous. It'll be 4 books. I had a great time doing it. Okay. I'm here to serve. I am here to serve. And it doesn't matter if it's my counseling practice or consulting for a Fortune 500 company, both of which I've done. If it's teaching, if it's talking on a podcast, or if it's making a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? I am here to serve. That's what we're all here to do. Now, it takes different ones of us, different amounts of time to figure that out, right? I will be 65 on my birthday in October. That's long enough to figure some things out, hopefully.
Hopefully I get more diluted, right?
Right. Well, all of the above, certainly that's possible. But do I intend to have my heart in the right place? Yes. Yeah. Am I a human being? Yes, that's what it says on my ID card. So do I make mistakes? Yes. Do I have opinions? Oh, yes, very strong ones. As my husband says to me, you're not bossy, darling. You're the boss.
Just are the boss, right?
That's right.
So let's get back into with the chakras. It's so important, like the idea of okay, so this is, like there's a purpose, there's this deeper purpose to the soul, and therefore like the the way the chakras are showing up and everything, kind of put it back in the context of where we came from. And then, so you've helped people, you talked a lot about on the physical level. That's amazing. You were able to be, like that's a dream come true for a lot of people. Like, really, the doctors like wanted your input? Like, oh, wow. Like I remember.
Some of them.
Yeah. I remember like, what was it, 10 years ago or something? Also, I started hearing like, oh, Reiki's getting into the hospitals more and everything. I'm like, okay, cool. Like, that they're actually allowing these things that more and more. And so there is some progression going on with it. Still, though, if you talk to most doctors today, they're like, "Oh, that's all good and well. That's all that like the placebo effect stuff, and we trust the 70-80% effectiveness rate of what we do." And like, but again, they're fixing right rather than the curing. So, but I also want to talk about like if I imagine you like you did mention with the voice, but it's physical too, but you help people as well in terms of like their life situations overall, right? I mean, strictly, you've done a lot with the physical stuff, and that's a natural gift you're attuned to through the lifetimes, right? Like you've had lifetimes of experience, but you also help in other areas, and then you can tune into it and work on it along the lines of what we talked about already, and you get those chakras, communicating and connected and all that sort of stuff. So, but what I'm trying to get to is this whole show in part is about this being an energy chakra detective or whatever we're calling it here. But like, so I was wondering, like, because we're talking about like people can do some of their own detective work. And so I was wanting you to talk about that. Like, how can people learn how to do that? A lot of people say, I can't feel anything. I can't sense anything in other people's chakras, much less my own, right? Like the idea that it's really hard to figure it out on my own, especially. And so what can you tell people that are in that place that do want to be able to tune into their chakras more? They want to be able to, do this sort of work. What hints can you give them? What can you help do?
Happily.
Yeah.
So, just for what it's worth, if a plumber had a 70 or 80% success rate, that plumber wouldn't be in business very long.
Just work 70-80% of the time. Is that good enough?
That's right. Just so everybody knows, right? Yes, everybody has a chakra system. We are to varying degrees sensitive to it and not sensitive to it, right? The first thing I would say to anybody is, what's your definition of tune in?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So people say to me, can you see auras? Well, the answer to that question is yes. But am I looking at you on Zoom and seeing colors around you? Excuse me. No, of course not. I can sense it. I am aware of it. If I needed to look specifically at it, I would ask you first. I do no energy work without permission unless someone is dying. The last time I did energy work, carte blanche without permission, was on 9/11. I was a half a mile from there. Believe me, I did energy work. But what we have to do is change our definition of tune in. First and foremost, you're not likely to get a picture of your body or see your own aura or see your own chakras in a mirror, right? In the bathroom mirror. I don't see mine. And I'm good at this. And I've been doing it for a long time. So, okay, first and foremost, what you want to do is become aware of sensation. And it will be subtle sensation. So let me give you a classic example, right? It's Sunday night. You have to go to work tomorrow. And you have a sinking stomach. That feeling, right? Okay. So my first question to you is it above your waist or below your waist? It's above your waist. And because it's above your waist, we know it's your third chakra, not your second chakra, right? So your third chakra, when you know what the chakras represent, is all about power. So the first question that you ask yourself, and I teach people how to ask themselves these questions, is, okay, do I need more power or do I feel disempowered in some way? Right? Now, maybe it's something as silly as, you have a cubicle mate who talks loud all the time, right? And you don't want to confront him, but the guy either needs a hearing aid or you need noise canceling headphones, right? How can we solve this, right? In order to answer that tummy feeling, right? And everybody has the ability to do this, because you and I both have walked into rooms in which someone was arguing and we were like, whoa, let's get out of here, right?
Mhm.
No, and everybody has had that experience, no matter how intuitive or not intuitive you are, right?
Mhm.
Awkward, right? Okay. So what's going to alleviate that dread in your third chakra? Do I need to make a plan? Do I need to say something to the person? Do I need to go to my boss and say, I need noise canceling headphones, or to move, right? What is going to solve this problem to handle the emotional issue, right? Now, let's say that your performance review is tomorrow instead. And you still have Mr. Loudmouth, right? Okay, so you want to know, wait, is this Mr. Loudmouth? Or is it that I have my performance review and I'm really scared, right? Oh, I'm scared. Okay. So the first question I would have for you is, okay, who's scared? How old is the person inside who's scared? Let's talk about that, right? When was the first time you ever had that feeling in your life? Oh my God, I had a swimming coach who was so awful and used to shame me in front of people, blah, blah, blah. And I'm so afraid my butt. Hello, right? Okay. So that dread is your 12-year-old self on a swim team, not facing your boss over the desk tomorrow. You unravel it. You care for the 12-year-old. You go, oh, I'm really sorry I couldn't speak up then, right? It's okay. And you leave your 12-year-old home with a video in your mind. Put your 12-year-old on your bed before you leave the house, right? I'll be back. We'll have lunch. It's a matter of learning to do your own emotional work. And you start with sensation, and each chakra has a word associated with it. And it's a gift. Every chakra comes with a gift. The first chakra gift is life itself. The second chakra gift is passion. The third is power. The fourth is love, right? And I work with 8 chakras, not 7. Because in the 1870s, the rabbis, the Kabbalistic rabbis in Spain noticed an 8th chakra becoming in front of the thymus gland, rosy pink. I use it about 6 inches in front of everyone, and it's for emotional immunity as well as physical immunity. So it's becoming aware and paying attention to the sensations in your body, because they're there. They are there. Now, that means a couple of things. That means, okay, pay attention. There's a reason that's the phrase. It's because there's a cost to attention, because you are not watching the game if you're paying attention to your feelings. You're just not, right? If you're not paying attention to your feelings, or you're stuffing them, eating them, shopping them away, gambling them, drinking them, do your math, it doesn't matter, right? Those feelings are not going to go away. There's something that's making you do those things. Why do I do this? I never feel good when I have 45 Oreos before bed, right? Yeah, no, probably not. Ew. Bless your heart, right? You should be exhausted. Okay, so you pay attention, you focus. So it's a matter of you become still and you become silent, right? And unfortunately, or fortunately, I think it's fortunate, chakra work is never fast unless there's an emergency, right? But chakra work is permanent when you take the time to do it, which is why, at the risk of sounding self-serving, that I wrote the workbooks, because they are physical books. They are workbooks. You have to do the work in them. That's why they're called workbooks. And they help you go through your past. What did you learn about power from your family? What did you learn about power from your religion? What did you learn about power from your friends, right? You write all those things down. You make lists of feelings. You go, oh my God, I didn't need to feel disempowered when my mother remarried 3 times. I could have. I did the first time. After that, she had a husband. I didn't have a stepdad. Shift in mind, right? So you're not going to see or tune in. You're going to have your own sensations, right? You might, for example, if your intuition kicks off in a situation that you don't feel right in, right? You might scratch your forehead, right? That's your third eye, darling. That's your 6th chakra. Pay attention. Wait a minute, right? You might get an itchy feeling in between your shoulder blades. Wait. That's your heart chakra. So when you know what your energetic anatomy is, any physical sensation you have is a message, right? And that's where you start. I also think that we become more and more adept at how we work with the chakras around the chakra where the problem is. So if you have that dread in your stomach, right? Okay, wait a minute. The chakra above that is your heart chakra. So that's personal love. It's emerald green, right? Okay, do I need to put some love into this situation? Like, do I need to love up my cubicle mate and say, you know what? I can't concentrate. What can we do? How can we fix this for us so that we're comfortable together, right? Instead of, I can't believe, on and on and on, right? Which is, we make it a confrontation in our own minds. Instead of, whoa, this is our problem. Not I have a problem, we have a problem, right? How do we solve that? Okay, so then you go to the 2nd chakra, which is below the 3rd, right? Which is orange. That's your passion, right? How does your passion play into this power play? Like, what you really want to be able to do is concentrate and not be interrupted by somebody else's noise, particularly when you never know when they're going to open their mouth, right? Or the guy is the salesperson and is on the phone all day long, talking to people and glad handing, right? Doing his job. How do you make it so that you're okay and not interrupted, right? So you get better and better at asking questions,
right,
of yourself.
Right, doing the inquiry work, listening to your signs, your sensations, and what that, you get to understand, like, what these things mean. Right? None of us knew anything when we came in the world in terms of like how to speak a language or anything. So, but with listening and paying attention, like you were saying, eventually, you kind of figure it out. I always tell people, like with, like you said, so-called tuning in. I always say, I'll tell you what, just start making up the meaning, and just make it up like you have no clue what it is, and you're going to hit it just right. But you gotta trust that. You gotta trust that making it up actually puts you into your connection. It'll give you the download or insight that you're looking for. But
it does feel like you're making it up a lot of the time, though. It really does. And what? Okay, so I mean, does it have to be the bridge that you can see in order to cross it? Go back to Indiana Jones. You have to put your foot on the bridge for the bridge to appear.
Yeah.
Right? That's what that is. Put your foot on the bridge. Okay, there it is. It's a bridge of light, right? So it's a matter of learning to trust yourself and validating what your own experience is, right? Instead of using your brain to override. Essentially, we use our brains to override our minds, right? And that's silly. Your mind is a part of the mind of God. Your mind knows what it's doing, right? Your brain has opinions and things you learned.
Yeah.
Right? Okay, don't let your brain overrule your mind. So you have to want to know and then pay attention, because your body will not fail you. You will absolutely get the information you need when you need it, if you will pay attention. And if you don't pay attention, you won't. It's that simple.
Right. You just keep running. You just keep running into the side of the road, so to speak.
Right. And not understanding why you're in the
Right.
gutter. Well, you're in the gutter because
This always happens to me, right?
right, exactly.
And that whole kind of story. So this is awesome. As we're beginning to wrap up, can you tell people more about these workbooks and, anything else you'd like to share with people about how they can, go deeper or maybe work with you, get
Yes.
more support? You've got a massive wealth of information and knowledge and expertise. So tell them more about how they can learn more.
Well, I would like to give everybody who's listening a free gift. And I actually mean a free gift, not a gift in exchange for your email address. If you go to chakras.susancorso.com, which I'm sure Daniel will put in the show notes, you will be able to get what I created, a digital download. Actually, there are two of them. I'm a Libra and I couldn't decide which one was prettier. So I put them both up. You get to choose, right? So I call these the less mores. And they are a way for you to start working with your chakra system right now from the outside in, not the inside out, right? So let's say you have this third chakra problem, right? So the less for your third chakra is controlling less. And the more for your third chakra is encouraging more, right? So how would you put that into practice? Am I trying to control this guy with the sound? I sure am. Hello. We don't need to control. How can I do this in an encouraging way? Right? Are there people on my team who I need to encourage today? Right? Do I need to maybe go look at my punam, face in the bathroom mirror and encourage me? You can do this. You can go to the performance review. It'll be all right. It never killed you before. It's not going to kill you today. Right? Don't worry, 12-year-old, right?
Yeah.
So there's that. You can start working with your chakra system immediately. The workbooks are about working with your chakra system from the inside out. That is the work that I do, and that is the work that I do with people. So if you were drawn to working with me, you would go to either one of my websites, but ampersand.org is my spiritual website, and you fill out the form and you ask me if we could make a time to talk, and I will get a notice. I ask that we do this so that my email address doesn't get spammed from here to eternity. If that's all right. And the other website, susancorso.com, is all my writing. So there are spiritual books there. There are all kinds of things there. The workbooks, in the description of the books, it says, if you need more passion in your life, start with the orange one, right? If you need more power in your life, start with the yellow one. Start with one. You can do them all. But the point in doing this work, and people ask me this all the time, Daniel, is, can I, I want to learn this. And then I can do it with other people. No. Well, yes, but no. I do this with other people. I've been doing it for 40 years. That's a 0 after the 4, right? One class on chakras does not an expert make, right? And the thing about chakras is I have them and you have them, right? Ours are connected because we're facing one another and talking. I need to know about my chakras so I don't read mine on you. Right? I need to know what my own physical issues are so that I don't see that in you and project it, because that's what we're all taught to do, is project our stuff. Oh, I don't like that person because blah, blah, blah. I met someone many years ago named Maureen, who there was a great competition between me and her. And I haven't liked anybody named Maureen since. I was 20 when I met her. That's ridiculous. That's completely ridiculous and irrational, right? It doesn't matter. You have those associations. We all do, right? You got to know what your own are. I have subsequently met people named Maureen who have become my friends, right? Because I got over my silly self, right? So yes, you can do this. There are two ways to do it: outside in, inside out. Outside in is fast and dirty, right? The first chakra, less more, is complain less, thank more. You go to yourself, have I been complaining? Do I sound like I've been complaining? Wait a minute, I've been complaining. Dang. And you'll know, because you'll be surrounded by people who are complaining.
Yeah.
It will be making you a little crazy, right? What do? Well, you stop complaining, you bite your tongue, you put an elastic band on your wrist and snap it. You do whatever you have to do, right? And then you start being more grateful, right? That's why they're in pairs. This world is based on polarity, day, night. That's all I have to say, right? We have to work with the polarity. When we don't, what happens is polarization. And polarization is polarity times 10,000, right? Well, okay, what happens when you pull an elastic that way? It snaps. That's what's happening on the planet right now. The elastics are snapping because of the polarity. Gone mad. It's good though, because what's doing is it's making a place for a middle road, right? And that's why it's worth doing the chakra work from inside out and outside in.
Yeah.
Because you will meet in the middle and you will be happier, calmer, far more capable of coping. You will not have knee-jerk reactions that are based on meeting someone named Maureen when you're 20. Right? I mean, that's a silly one, right? But, what happens if there's terrible trauma that you knee-jerk react against all the time, right? Somebody mugged you, let's say, on a street in New York City. And so every time you walk on a dark street, your heart is beating on the end of your nose.
Yeah.
Wait, there's work to do there.
Right.
Let's undo the trauma. So where is the trauma? That's the first question. You might think it was in your second chakra or your first chakra. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's in your throat chakra because you were so scared you couldn't make a sound, right? I think that's why I've stayed fascinated with this for so long, right? If I was in a room full of 200 healers and they all wanted to lose 5 pounds, they would all want to lose 5 pounds for a different reason, and it would be coded in their chakra system differently. Every single one of them. Okay, humans are fascinating. Right. That's why I'm so adamant about this. And if it was me, I would teach every second grader about chakras. They should know about chakras like they should know about brushing their teeth.
Yeah. You're right. Well, we're going to put the some of that information, certainly your free gifts link below, and whatever people can take advantage of that. And if you want to connect with Dr. Susan to have her help you out and tune into you and support you, you can reach out to her at her website too, ampersand.org, right?
ampersand, it's the letter I ampersand.org.
Okay. Got it. Okay. All right. So that's wonderful and very powerful stuff. So yeah, well, we're at the point of the show where I usually do a quick tune in on my guests. You ready to receive a download or two?
Absolutely.
Okay, cool. Let's see what comes through today. It's always fun. All right, let's go ahead and just. Okay. Okay, well, there's something about they're showing me smelling a rose, and there's this vibe of I'm reminded anyway of the rose, like as like I get like Mary Magdalene ideas coming to me and stuff. So could be that you might be being asked to bring some more enlightenment, wisdom to women, specifically around deeper mystical knowledge or something like that along those lines. So that's kind of what I'm kind of getting through it. So and I just share what comes through. You guys, it's up to you to decide what's true. Okay, let me see what else comes through. Yeah, something about this idea of like we talked about smooch and what I um, like you've gotten a lot better with it, but like this idea of not hurting cats. So it's like, it's this feeling of like I need to really keep with more of this detachment. I need to allow even more space in certain relationships or certain situations. And you've gotten really good at it, but like getting something like there's a couple more areas that want attention. So again, you'll know what it is, but I just share whatever comes through. So, okay, let's see if we get one last one. Okay, and then they're saying you can be like that good Jewish mother. You can be very so the funny thing with you is I imagine some people are intimidated by you. They think you're too harsh, and people that don't know you, the way you may come across, but it's like you have this like within all that frequency, still like there's this doting like kind of energy inside of you that it just loves and wants to nourish people so deeply. And I think that's just something I want to just recognize in you, because I think some people be like, people probably have this idea like where they'll say, well, who do you think you are, or something like, and it's like what's cool is you can, you're connected enough with that doting, kind of Jewish mother kind of energy where you can tell it like it is, but you bring a lot of love and you know insistence, but a lot of love to people at the same time. So it's just a recognition of you. So I just wanted to recognize.
Thank you. That's so lovely. And oh my gosh, you were spot on about Mary Maggs.
Oh, okay.
Totally.
Cool. Cool.
Totally. I have read everything written in English about her.
Oh, wow.
I went, whoa, okay, cool.
Awesome. That's good to know. It's good to know. Yeah, I knew it comes through for a reason. So there's something more that wants to happen there. Okay, awesome. I'm so grateful. I always love what comes through. And I just share with everybody real quick. If you want to check me out, you can go to yoursacredpurpose.com. I do downloads for people on their business and stuff. You'll see all that there if you go there. And also you can get your free meditate and make money meditation, which opens up the energies that in your chakras and your overall energy, helps connect those chakras and all that stuff. I bring you through into something that's really beautiful with that and helps turn on the energy with money and abundance and like, hey, this can happen, whereas your brain, your thinking mind is always like, I don't know what's possible. What can I do? Anything? And like, it just turns the energy on. So check it out at yoursacredpurpose.com. And I always like to give the guests the very last word here, Susan. So what last words do you have for the audience today?
What I would say is this: chakras are about your creativity, and we need to be chakra literate. We need to be energy literate because energy is what everything is based on. So even if it's not chakras, I don't care, study electricity, but learn something about frequency and energy because that's where we're going.
Nice. I love that. I think that you're so right on about that. So, okay. Well, great. Thank you so much. It's been a great pleasure to have you on the show and your power, your wisdom, your insights, and just I really love it. And so everybody check it out. Reach out to Dr. Susan on all things chakra and more, and check out her books and all that good stuff. And like I always say, keep on tuning in. We'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. So next time, everyone, goodbye for now.
Listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.